Hello and welcome to the All Rookie Podcast. I'm your host, William Harris, aka William is Bill, and I'm so glad to be back with you guys for another great episode of the All Rookie Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to continue our rankings from 23 to 30 of my top prospects on my NBA big board for the upcoming 2026 NBA draft. It's been a process, y'all. This gets real tight in here between 23 and 30. I probably had like 5 extra guys that could have been squeezed into that 30 spot. So this is going to be a fun one. Let me recap 1 through 22 before we get into 23 through 30 to keep you updated. All right. If you don't remember, please check back on previous episodes how I break down my 1 through 22. But number 1, Darren Peterson. Number 2, AJ DeBansa. Number 3, Kingston Flemings. Number 4, Mikael Brown. Number 5, Cam Boozer. Number 6, Nate Ament. 7, Caleb Wilson. 8, Hans Steinbach. 9, Yaxel Lindeborg. 10, Keaton Wagler. 11, Chris Sinnett. Darius Acuff. Braden Burries. Ade Mara. Cam Carr. Dalen Swain. Isaiah Evans. LeBaron Philon. Henry Visar. Christian Anderson, Jaden Quaintance, and Morez Johnson. Those are my top 22 thus far. And I will say the combine has came and gone for the most part. And a lot of people taking a lot of information from it, changing their rankings, moving people up, down, For me, like I said, most of this is through the tape, gameplay. I don't really take too much weight on the combine. There is one player that I will say that got adjusted from the combine for me, and that will be Christian Anderson, because he's listed at 6'4", but at the combine, he measured at 6'1", so he'll be around 6'2" in shoes. And so that is why I had him at 20th, and I would probably move him down to 22nd because of that, because it was borderline whether he should be 20th anyway. So that's really the only change for me. Nothing else was too crazy from the combine numbers. So I don't go too crazy with the combine. So, all right, now let's get straight to it like it's nothing to it. Number 23 on my list of top players on my NBA big board for the 2026 NBA draft is Kareem Lopez. How many of you have heard of Kareem Lopez? If you have not, let me break it down for you. He is from the New Zealand Breakers. He's 6'8", 220 pounds, 18 years old. NBA loves that. 12 points, 6 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block per game. Shot 49% from the field and 32% from 3. Now, he has a very nice handle and movement for a small forward. He can create his own shot or hit the open J occasionally. Has a nice fadeaway. He will need to get stronger in the NBA. And, that's a thing that comes with international players. Their level of physicality is normally not as rough as ours, so that will come with time. But some things about Kareem Lopez, a lot of people have him ranked 10th through 15th. For me, 23rd is the highest I can go, because he does not create much space yet on his size alone, and he'll probably be a perimeter player in the NBA and will need to be a much better shooter to be on the floor as much as we want him to. He's a solid player, but to me, there was a clear drop off as far as the rankings being that high. Like, once you get to 10, 12, 15, and then you see his tape, it's like he's nowhere near those guys, in my opinion. Now, his dribbling ability is probably his most useful asset. Got to get better with his shot, like I said, but he does hustle hard. He played 25 minutes per game, which is impressive, because most international players that are very young don't play much at all. Someone play 10 minutes. So that's a positive and a negative, but he's good enough, but just not very productive. He takes some bad shots. His moves and movements are not polished. I wonder how well they will work in the NBA. Sometimes the transition to the NBA is difficult for players coming from overseas. We've seen that with Zachary Risacher. And the fact that he does not create space and is not a great shooter are definitely concerns for me. And I think that'll make his transition to the NBA a little rough. So he could need some G League time. He does play very hard on defense, good defensive recovery. When his man does go by him, he normally can catch up and do some things for, his team to help make a play. Now, the NBA is going to be looking at him like, can we make him a Michael Porter Jr.? Can we make him a Ousmane Dieng? Somewhere in there, you probably can make something out of Kareem Lopez. But like I said, 18 years old, it's going to take a few years. Ousmane Dieng did not play for multiple years in the NBA because he was on OKC for one, a great team. So it's tough to get minutes on a great team. But also he was super young and needed to develop, even though he was the 10th pick in the draft. So Kareem Lopez could be in that same position if he's picked 10th through 12th, something like that. It could be a wait and see type of game. Go sit and develop in the G League type of thing. And I don't think a team should really draft him that high with his potential ceiling. I don't see it as high as others. But he's 18, good size, good length, good athleticism. He may go higher, but 23rd for me for Kareem Lopez. Number 24, we just talked about an 18-year-old. Here's a 22-year-old senior in college, Tarris Reed from UConn. 6'11", 265 pounds, averaged 15 points, 9 boards, 2.5 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks per game. Shot 62% from the field, and a rare no three-pointers for him. He's keeping it in the paint. And that's what a true center does. Back in the day, centers didn't shoot out there anyway. So he's a bit of a throwback. And like I said, 22 years old. So he runs the floor very well for his size. He's huge at 265, but not like overweight and lumbering. I mean, athletic. He's not a polished post player, but he can do some things backing his man down. That's just not his strong suit. NBA coaching can truly make him special if they can improve him in that area, and it should be no reason that doesn't happen. Tarris is a great rebounder, great lob threat, great rim runner. He is a load in the post, gets great position with or without the ball. Most bigs don't run the floor as well as him in transition. You don't see too many big defenders like this. Now, he won't stop Jokic or Wemby, but he has the strength and size for sure to give them something to think about, you know what I mean? As a rookie too. So imagine if he keeps getting stronger. He's a great prospect in my opinion, especially with the fact that he's not a finished product. The negative in the NBA draft terms are that he's 22 years old. Now if he was a freshman, Tarris Reed would probably be looked at like Jalen Duren. And just when you're 22, you don't get looked at as highly as that. But he's well worth the first round pick, in my opinion, especially if he has a point guard that knows how to set him up, get on the ball, and scoring position. He makes really good passes to his teammates that are cutting to the basket. UConn is a great program. You can tell he's been coached very well, and you can tell he has a high IQ out there on the floor. Great defender with 2 blocks per game. And it's going to be tough to score on him one-on-one, and he's a great help defender. And he even averaged a steal per game, which shows you how active he is on defense. And so, like I said, his age and the fact that he's not really a shooter are the only concerns really that anyone should have for him. And the fact, he's probably only going to score if he's in the paint, but that's okay. There's a lot of players in the NBA that are like that, a lot of bigs like that. But there's definitely a place for him in the league. And I think he will help a team, and at worst, be a really good backup. At best, get coached up and be a starting center in the league. Tarris Reed from UConn. That was 24. Number 25, Tunde Yesufu, Tunde Yesufu, the 6'5" guard from Baylor, averaged 18 points, 6 boards, 2 steals, a half a block per game, 47% from the field, and 30% from 3. Now, this is a name you have heard me say because he was in the withdrawal episode, and it was announced that he was going back to college. I don't know what happened, and I was disappointed he was going back to college, but then it came out a few days later, he's keeping his name in the draft. So it's a bit of controversy with that, but I'm glad to see Tunde Yesufu back into the draft. He's a really nice shooting guard, has a nice jab step and crossover, can get to the rack almost at will. And if he's stopped, he still finds a way to get there. And, he plays like a vet, and he's 19 years old. He knows how to use his body to get where he wants, to get position on rebounds and to get his shot off. He's good at a lot of things on offense. I'm not sure he's great on offense in anything except for the determination and finding a way to score. And he scores mainly in the mid-range area or drives to the hoop. So he does need to improve his shot, especially from three. 30% is not good enough. But if he had a better shot, he would be ranked much higher. So if he could shoot the three consistently, that's something that's going to have to be coached up in the NBA, which I'm sure it can because he has a solid shot, solid form. It's just going to have to be perfected. Now, I was okay with him returning to school because he can get better at that shot. But he'll just get better in the NBA or the G League. But, he's 19. He's definitely worth a selection in the 20s or 30s from his offensive capabilities. But what takes Tunde over the top is his defense. His defense will keep him on the court for sure. He is a menace on defense. Has elite hands for steals and blocks. Super impressive defender. On ball and as a help defender. Moves his feet at an elite level. It's very hard to score on him or even get by him. He scored 18 points per game, but could be asked to play a Lou Dort or Herb Jones type of role in the NBA, which is clearly needed on winning teams. They're not relied on for offense necessarily. And he is an even better scorer than those guys. So that's the floor of him being just a great defender. But his ceiling is being a scoring threat as well as a shutdown defender. Because he can put the ball in the basket. It's just not as smooth as a guy that's been a scorer his whole life. You know what I mean? It's not smooth. It's not pretty, but he's a scorer. So he's going to have to polish that in the NBA, which he can do, and be that great defender. Then he could be a problem in the league, And he's a great rebounder as well. And say a team like OKC, if they had to move on from Lou Dort, which they will have to move on from some players because they're getting expensive, he would be a great cheap replacement for them. And so I'm sure OKC, a lot of teams like that, will be looking for guys like this to put in their lineup. The Lakers could use them. A lot of teams like that. So Tunde was 25. Number 26, Allen Graves, the 6'9" forward from Santa Clara, 19 years old. Averaged 12 points, 6.5 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, and a block per game. Shot 51% from the field and 41% from three. You got to love that. And this was all in 23 minutes per game, y'all. So Allen Graves is a big power forward with amazing three-point percentage. And he shoots it almost like Al Horford. And we know how Al had his career. Very 20 long years in the NBA. Still going. Will he come back next year? We're not sure. But that's a good sign for Allen Graves, who plays very well in the post. Great cutter to the basket. Not really going to be fancy or wow you, but just very effective. I'm not sure why he played 23 minutes per game, but clearly if he played more, his stats would be better. He'll be a very effective NBA player with his size and shooting. He can create a little for himself as well. In the paint, he has a nice little hook shot, a nice array of moves in the post to get him where he needs to be. He doesn't really get up off the floor high, so I do worry about his production in the paint against bigger players. May have to play in the G League for a year, but could be very solid. It's good that he's 6'9". Some players that play like him are 6'7" with this skill set, and they don't really have a chance to make it really. It's just normally not going to work. But him being 6'9", he's got a really good chance. If he went to Duke, he would be much more highly regarded than he is right now. And being 19 is great for him as well. When you watch him play, you think he's 21, 23 years old. But being 19 means there's so much more room for him to grow into an even better player. His age, size, and skill set are all a great combination for a promising prospect. That was Allen Graves. And, there's been a lot of talk about him at the Combine. People are concerned about some things. People are saying, oh, no, is he dropping? But like I said, this is not a player that jumps up high off the floor. This is a guy that is give him the ball in the game. He's going to show you what he can do. At a Combine, it might not be as pretty. So don't get too concerned. Like I said, he's a good player, 23 minutes per game. You put Al Horford in the combine, it ain't going to look pretty either. Okay, put him on the court and coach him up. Now, 27 for me, Bennett Sturts, the 6'4 guard from Iowa, 22 years old, averaged 20 points, 2.5 boards, 4.5 assists, 1.5 steals per game, 48% from the field, 36% from three. Now, he's a senior, but his first 2 years of eligibility, he did not play at all. So his junior and senior year were the 2 years he played, and he balled out both. He takes a lot of tough shots, and he takes a lot of bad shots. That's why his percentage is probably 36% from three. It could be higher. They look good when they go in, but he's going to have to stop doing that in the NBA. Even though he's a great shooter, they're gonna, they'll coach the bad shots out of you because they can't have that in the NBA. When you're the man in college, that's different. But like I said, he's a great shooter. Off the dribble or screens or spotting up, has very long range. Shot 39% from three as a junior. So the shooting is real, and I think it's better than it was as a senior. It's just those bad shots. His role will probably be greatly reduced in the NBA, so you wonder how his game will be affected. Shooters are always good, so that protects him. But will he be just a role player shooter? Could he get lost in the shuffle? I wonder about that. He can score one-on-one and get to the rack. He's a prospect that really can go either way depending on the role and the team. He has a nice handle, nice crossover. You can say he's kind of similar to Peyton Pritchard and 2 inches taller. So that's a good sign, And in college, Peyton averaged 20 points with 5.5 assists and the same field goal percentage and the same, 41% from three, which is better, but I think Sturts could do that as well. But both are great ball handlers and shooters that finish below the rim with a lot of layups, both 1.5 steals per game. Both will shoot it from anywhere. That skill set and him being taller should get him on the court. It just depends on the team. And he has the same great vision as Peyton Pritchard as well, makes the right passes, great hands and anticipation for steals. His ball handling and ability to create space and create for himself make him a great potential prospect because most shooters can't do that. They're just going to do one or the other, shoot or get their own shot. And, he can do both. And like I said, his shot is pure. He can play the one or the two. So Bennett Sturts can be a very valuable asset. I think he may be a player that's being slept on because he's 22 years old and he didn't play those first 2 years. People are wondering what box to put him in, who to compare him to. There's not many players that play like him that continue to play like this in the NBA. So will a team have complete faith in him and draft him earlier, or will he fall to the later part of the first round? If he's in where I have him at 27, 28, 29, 30, it could be a tough path for him because he's going to be on a really good team and he's not going to have as much time to find his way. He's going to be expected to come in, do his job, get off the court. Now, if he's picked 15 to 25, there's more likely of a chance that he'll be able to go out there and see what he can do for a team and help a team in multiple ways. So keep an eye out for Bennett Sturts and how that will work out. Number 28 on my list, Malik Thomas. He's been a bright spot at the combine, 6'5", 190 pounds from Arkansas, 15.5 points, 4 boards, 2.5 assists, 1.5 steals, 43% from the field, and 41% from three. Now, Malik Thomas has a very fast, super quick crossover, and he's a really good three-point shooter. I don't like his form, but he shot a good percentage at it, obviously. Quick release, can get a bucket anytime. He's inexperienced out there because he's 19 years old, but he shows you flashes of greatness. And his best attribute is probably ball handling. Like I mentioned, he's got a weird form, shoots it like a shot put at times from deep. But so does guys like Tyrese Halliburton. So you can't really penalize him for that, especially since he's shooting it at such a great percentage. But like I said, really good handles also. His handles can get him anywhere he wants to go. Has a great floater. can create plenty of space with his speed, fakes, and jukes. He over dribbles at times, but very shifty and crafty when going to the rack, can pull up and get his shot from the elbow anytime he wants. He could be better at his shot selection, but that will come with coaching and experience. But he should be very good in the NBA as long as the coaches don't hate his style of play or like try to change his shot. But his style of play is a little and one-ish, but he's such a great shooter, and I don't think he has to do that to be productive. So I think he'll be fine. He has fast feet, quick hands, which allow him to get 1.5 steals per game. So that's great also. And Malik Thomas can absolutely shoot the lights out. And he is one of the players, he's listed at 6'5", but he's really going to be 6'4". So I don't think that hurt him too much. That's not that big of a deal. But he's going to be an interesting prospect. Like I said, when you see his form, you're going to be like, he's really good, but what's up with that? So you just got to trust it. Like I said, Tyrese Halliburton, this guy can go to the Pacers somehow. You don't know. You never know. They can work with each other. Someone can help him out and decide what they're going to do about that form. But I think it's fine. Just keep it like it is. Shawn Marion had a weird form. Tyrese Halliburton, Reggie Miller has a weird form. But if you're shooting it well, don't touch it. Number 29 on my list, Koa Pete, the 6'8" from Arizona, 235 pounds, averaged 14 points, 5.5 boards, 3 assists, almost a steal, almost a block per game, 53% from the field, 35% from three. 18 years old. Now, Koa Pete is a guy that was debating going back to college. Like, I think it still may be an option because his name is out there as far as like 15 to 25. But so is NIL. You know what I mean? And I don't know if Koa Pete is exactly ready for the NBA. He has the body size, like height and weight, but his game is not convincing to be, it's not in the spot it should be to go into the NBA, honestly. Like if he went back to college next year, I think he'd be ready to come into the NBA. But this is a chance for teams to get him a year early and develop him in their system as opposed to in college. If he went back to college, maybe next year he would be a lottery pick. So this is your chance to get him later. I think I may be the lowest on him. I think he's normally going 15 to 25, but I have him 29th just because of this is what I see. I have more faith in the other players right now. But Koa Pete, big body forward, looks huge out there on the court, good pick and roll player, moves well without the ball, moves more like a power forward than a small forward at times, but not a great ball handler, needs to be set up to score. But he is really aggressive, can back you down or get by you and attack the rim. He's a hardworking player, but probably a role player and defender in the NBA because he's good at everything, but not great at anything that will really translate to being great in the NBA. I just don't really see elite NBA skills. Seems like a good college player to me. He loves to play in the post, but, at 6'8", how effective will that be in the NBA? Moves very well without the ball, gets in the right spots to get easy buckets. He's a load out there at 235. He's not overweight or anything, just most players his size are much skinnier nowadays. And his size does allow him to be very physical and back his man down and be more productive in the paint. And as well for defense, it helps him because he'll be able to play the 3 or the 4 because of his height and size. Has really good footwork. Most effective when he gets the ball and instantly attacks. Like, don't just hold it and look around. Like, get the ball and go. And that normally works for him. Has a good mid-range game. If he keeps improving at his three-point shot, I like his chances to be a very effective player in the NBA. He plays under control. He's a good prospect, but just not a game changer. So a smart team will take him, though, like in the 20s and expect nothing this year and potentially have something next year, I feel. Now, like I said, the 30th spot was so hard. There's probably 35, 36 first rounders in this draft class, and we only get 30. So who did I have to put in the 30th spot? I chose a player that I have the most confidence in that I trust the most, and I see a direct path for NBA minutes. Milos Uzan, the 6'4" guard from Houston, 11 points, 3 boards, 4 assists, a steal, 38% from the field, 34% from three. Now, last year, he was much better at 45% from the field and 43% from three, but that was effective because he had a lottery pick come to his team pretty much playing that same position. And I think it affected him a little bit, but he still was good and showed what he could do. His numbers were still similar to the previous season, but I think he could do more at any time. So Milos Uzan he was an All-American last year as a junior, but this year, like I said, similar stats. I think he should have came out last year, in my opinion, but he has great size for a point guard at 6'4", great handles, never really pressured. Even when he's doubled, he can get out of it and make the right play, whether he's passing or scoring himself, blows by his defenders whenever he wants. The way he dribbles and controls the game, he can do whatever he wants out there. Now, like I mentioned, Kingston Flemings came in and took away some of his shine, but don't get it twisted. Milos is a great prospect, very quick crossover, very shifty, has dynamic moves to get his shot off or to get to the basket, can finish with the left very well, will shoot the three at any time and anywhere with confidence. He can take over a game and score a lot if and when he wants to, or he can sit back and get his teammates involved. I think he will be a great sleeper prospect, probably my biggest sleeper in the draft. I've seen him ranked in the 60s, in the 50s. This is a player that is very similar to Andrew Nembhard in college. Both can play the 1 or the 2, great size, ball handling. Both were seniors with great leadership. Nembhard averaged 12, 3, and 6. And like I mentioned, Fleming, 11, 3, and 4. So it's not that much different. Similar with steals as well, similar percentages as well if you go by his junior season. But very similar, great passers, great floor generals with great size, can do it all, mainly unselfish. Nembhard is just a little quicker than Milos and put more pressure on the defense when he's in attack mode. But other than that, very similar players. There is a clear path for Milos to play in the NBA and help a team out, especially in the way that Andrew Nembhard has for the Pacers. So that's my 23 to 30 rankings. If you missed one, 23 Kareem Lopez, then Tarris Reed, Tunde Yesufu, Allen Graves, Bennett Sturts, Malik Thomas, Koa Pete, and Milos Uzan. How do you feel about that list, y'all? Some players you may not have heard of, some players you think, why is he this low? I don't know, but hope you guys enjoyed this ranking. Hit me up on Twitter at William is Bill. Hit up some comments, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. So my first round is complete now. My big board, I can do it all together in one pod if you guys want. Like I said, I moved a player around slightly, but I'll be posting my 1 through 30. I'll post the whole big board sheet on my Twitter at William is Bill. So if you guys have been piecing together parts, you can have it all in one place. But follow us at Sports Ethos as well. Thanks for watching, liking, subscribing to the All Rookie Podcast. I'll be back with more for you guys coming very soon. Second round, I might do 31 through 45 and then 46 through 60. We should have 60 picks this year. The last few years, teams have been losing picks. So it's been like 58 picks, 57, 59. I think we should have 60 this year. I'll get back with you and do the second round coming up soon. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm out of here. Peace.